Alright then, so let's start with game number 2 of this match between Kimo and ChronoJJ. Yet again, it's going to be a mirror and on a watering hole. That's another high hunt map, but much more importantly, it's kinda nice for Aegis because of the ability to actually have some secure trade route. Let's see if we are going to see yet again some late game battles. This time we are yet again starting with Chrono, and the name of the guy at the head of his nation is going to be Shebitko, and are we going to see same names in here as well? Actually, yeah, we do. So it seems like that it's actually some kind of feature when you are running a RAM mirror, or rather a game mirror. It seems like that you might be actually getting the same names, just somehow out of default. That's interesting. But, well, that's going to be the case of this game, and you can also see that Chrono is already right now a bit luckier than last time around, going for hunting dogs, not husbandry, and having a normal patch of hunt, as opposed to just the one elk last time around, and also having a rhino right behind his base, which is definitely a pretty big help for him, and should be quite fun to play around with. Let's turn on the Fog of War to see how his next map looks like. He has already discovered through the pickies that his next hunt is on the right, together with a safe TC at the very back, and his front TC seems to be kinda in the open, but looking at the other town center from his opponent, yeah, it's basically the same, with this town center being a bit more important strategically, as it's in the middle of the map, and basically it is open towards Chrono, and reasonably open towards his opponent Kimo as well, so this is going to be very important for whoever is able to capture it. And we'll be looking how the battles for that develop. Some giraffes on the left, probably not discovered yet by Chrono. Actually, they are. And that was by whom? Probably the Pharaoh, who was going to the bottom for a relic, as you can see. And he's also empowering a bit with the priest in here, as he is unfortunately housed. Not yet, but he's just trying to make sure that he has monument as fast as possible. But right now he's switching into gold with the empowerment, so that he is in an ideal build order for him. He has been able to capture Archer Ballista, Kero Ballista, +2 LOS and Range Relic. So even though it's not really going to do a whole lot, it still might be for Chariot Archers. I'm not 100% positive, but I think it will affect them. And let's have a look at his opponent then for Kimo, how's it looking with his starting map. Having Giraffes right next to the TC to the left, of course, pretty nice position, basically similar to what Chrono is having, and yeah, the starting patch, and that seems to be pretty much it on the left. And on the right, does he see the Rhino? Yes, he does. Oh, together with a big gold right inside his base. Well, that's a pretty sweet one for Egi, and also going for quite fast advance, so it seems like that Kimo is playing basically the same strategy as last game around. Looking at the gold, that's definitely unfair, with Kimo having the second gold right inside his base, whereas Chrono is having nothing. You can see that his next gold is all the way to the left, which basically means that he will be forced to quite aggressively wall, possibly around here, so that he actually can defend those two gold mines, as he will be quite sorely needing them, as next golds are in the middle of the map, and it's most definitely not going to be easy for him to defend at all. You can see that even though Kimo is also having two gold mines, what is this relic? Oh well, caravan cost and speed. Can Kimo get any luckier? First he has safe gold inside his base basically, and then he gets super trade relic for an Egyptian. I mean, seriously. It's like playing with a handicap right now. Well, Chrono definitely will have to put up his best game if he wants to overcome these odds. In the meantime though, not much interesting around the map, but we still need to keep in mind that Chrono will have to really rely on the left part of the map, and he doesn't know about the gold yet. He actually doesn't see literally any extra gold mine for him, and he is at 4 minutes, so he has absolutely no idea where to develop and where to wait for anything. 15 cents. Chrono nicely reacting and dividing villages actually. And it's going to be basically a decoy, I think. Well, it's not like Chrono can actually evade this once Kimo is actually up on it. So he might just as well give up some villages, like 2 or 3. Well, 2. That's going to be a good trade-off for the shifting sands. Or is he maybe trying to wait for his own shifting sands? As you can see that he's advancing and shift them right back, potentially with opponent's release. Well, that would be some trick right there. Imagine Kimo actually switching some villages into opponent's base, Chrono going to the bottom and shifting his opponents inside his base. That would be something. That would be pretty something, and I would definitely like Chrono to do that. But I'm not sure that he actually will right now. He's basically forcing Kimo off the position due to the upgrade of the towers, and it seems like that he might be just switching on the left. Let's see. Let's see if the budget will actually find them. So far it seems like that he will not. You can see Kimo also going for a second town center. Having fun killing piggies. And that's actually not any kind of mistake or misclick, that's intentional, because they are very far away from the town center, which means that it will be very ineffective to gather from them, even for the granary. So that's actually very nice microplay, and you can see that Chrono is already running away. And that was because he has seen the budget because of the tower and whatnot, and he's going right now for the town center. But if he can find it soon enough, Kimo, he might be shifting all those vills. Could be quite a big problem. And let's see if it is going to actually mean defensive rain. Might be an idea for Chrono, because otherwise it's going to be incense. Let's see. I'll be fully expecting that to be happening right now, but Kimo actually is not going for it. That's curious. He actually thought that it would be better not to steal any villages and basically keep it for some kind of military aggression later on. You can also see that Kimo is right now with the second TC being slightly sooner than Chronos, but literally by a few seconds. Going to be developing into the middle of the map, trying to secure the gold in there, as he probably still doesn't know about the one on the right. Yeah, he hasn't scouted there at all. But he's realizing that the middle of the map, those 4 gold mines in here are going to be pretty important for late game. Pretty important for late game, and is hoping to develop as soon as possible exactly in this position, as Chrono is moving there faster, and I'm not exactly liking the farms next to front TC, obviously, but it's not like Chrono actually had any kind of extra choice. Now casting Drain with actually no farms from his opponent yet. Going to be yet again basically the same situation as last game. But to finish on the thought, this is going to be quite unsafe, and Kimo is going to be able to pick off those villagers through chariot archers and even something from barracks, obviously. Going for that first. But Chrono didn't have much of a choice. If he sent all those villagers somewhere else, he's going to be just so slow. It would be like a minute without gathering anything, which he cannot afford in a mirror against an opponent that is playing quite well and really doesn't have this downtime as you, so he basically needs to risk it, and it's also going to help him to have some villagers in here for the advancing through Heroic Age and the Migdol and all the other buildings that he will be needing in here. Kimo yet again going for a bit of a wall-in. Having enough resources for advancing into Hathor right about now. And 3 barracks, this seems like a pretty nice spam from him. So he's going to be relying a lot on probably Spearmen, I would be thinking. But it's going to be like a combination of Spearmen with Chariot Archers and of course Siege Towers. And in the meantime, let's have a look at the economy upgrades, for example. We have for Chrono basically the standard Pickaxe, Plow and Shaduf, whereas for his opponent, nothing. Well, that's curious.
Grig.
Really nothing? Or really nothing?
Grig.
That's weird. That should be giving actually Chrono quite a strong upper hand, to be honest. Huh. Not exactly sure what the plan is right now from Kimo, because Kimo is at 3 TCs, so yeah, he's going to be better off in there. But his opponent is advancing into the next age, and you can see that he's going for actually slingers against chariots, it seems. But Chrono is right now through, and will be building where? Somewhere around here, next to gold. Now here, basically to protect the TC a bit more. And does he know about the gold? Oh! Yeah, he still doesn't see literally any gold. Do you see this? We are at 9 minutes and he doesn't see extra gold yet. That's absolutely horrible for him. He doesn't see extra gold in 9 minutes gameplay and he's running out of the gold quite desperately. 300 left. He doesn't know what to do next. I mean, he has to be absolutely desperate right about now. He's still having 300 gold right about now, but what is going to ensue now? I have no idea. It's probably going to be quite soon market, you can see right about now. Of course. With Fudget having a bit of fun with the lions and potentially the crocodile. This is pretty bad. I don't even know. I can't even imagine what Chrono is actually thinking at this point. First gold being discovered in a horrible offensive position at 10 minutes of game time. That needs to be so disheartening for him. Going for a bit of raiding, at least with the rock. Trying to find something to kill, but so far unsuccessfully. But I'm really afraid for Chrono, because he should be running out of gold quite a lot. And since he doesn't know where to go, the gold is on the left, just a bit further. Literally a few centimeters to the left. He has to be, I don't know actually how would we play as an Egyptian without any gold whatsoever, and hoping that actually my trade could be set up faster than this, which is obviously quite slow. You can see the build rate is absolutely abysmal. And this is going to put Chrono actually in a pretty tough situation, because the faster advance into heroic is fully reliant on some gold, some reasonable gold placement, and we see, oh, fortunately pretty much doing absolutely anything, nothing at all. And those locusts, they haven't killed, oh, okay, so at least one villager has pretty much it all. So that was unfortunately a bit of a waste, and it seems like that actually Chrono is going to be raided on the trade route as well, which is also quite unfortunate. And finally, has he discovered? Yes, he's finally discovered the gold, and that's a gold that he should have seen a lot earlier, because right now he hasn't been gathering any gold for at least a minute or two. That's just sad news for him. That must have set him so back, so much back. He could have had such a huge army right about now. You can see that he's having a huge amount of resources, 600 food and wood, but no gold. But if he had the gold, which he should have had, if he did a bit better scouting to the left, well, he might have been at a completely different situation, because you can see that Kimo is nowhere near on par to actually deal with his potential heroic army, and well, he has the second rain at least, and he's going to be having a bit of an advantage in there, as getting second rain is definitely going to be helpful to his food economy. He has been able in the meantime amass a bit of siege towers, but since he doesn't have the gold for all the chariots in here, he's having just 3 of them, and that might not be enough for anything at all, especially since Kimo is having gold plenty. Gold plenty to build a tower to protect this gold, and that's going to be very important, especially with all the spearmen in here, together with the support of priests, the pharaoh, and a few slingers with the budget. So that's a pretty decent army with the tower support to go for it. Chrono needs to be careful though about those 2 guys at the, or rather 3 guys at the top, as they will be probably attempting to stop the TC from being built. Yeah, nicely placed, so that they are having exactly the line of sight. And now moving a bit closer, just to make sure. And well, finally Chrono is racing the situation in here at the left part of the map with all of these markets in their extras. So 15 cents yet again, but unfortunately Kimo is having 15 cents as well, and a pretty strong one, so it seems like that actually Chrono's army I will take it down. Just at the last moment. So that was successful. And even though he's going to lose everything, with right now Citadel Town Center being cast from Kimo, Chrono still is having a pretty good chance right now to do something against his opponent, but he needs some army for it, which he doesn't have yet. And it seems like that the economy for Kimo is pretty strong, but he still hasn't actually scouted the right side with the absolutely OP relic. Or the better gold, for the better cost and speed of caravans. So yep, he needs to rely on something normal. Scarabs. Constantly being rebuilt for Kimo, of course, at the very back. And a very nice attempt right now to push for Chrono, obviously, because all the army has been engaged at the bottom and is just now retreating, or rather returning back to the battlefield. And there's a pretty good chance for Chrono to do something right about now. If he can somehow stop these extra barracks from coming up, take down the tower, and even take down the scarab, which is a big problem right about now, it still could be in a pretty good spot to control his opponent, but looking how, that's probably not going to happen with the army coming back exactly on time, and Kimo having absolutely brutal echo right about now. 1000, 1500, or rather 1600 and 400, as opposed to Chrono's kinda equal. You can see also that he's house, so he might be wanting to go for a TC at the back, exactly as he is, but he hasn't accounted for those very nicely placed spearmen, and these small plays, exactly like Kimo's, are paying off quite nicely in the villages in earnest, and Chrono unfortunately not really having a clue that this is exactly happening. So, as is Kimo trying to set up the trade route in here, he is finally discovering the gold together with the absolutely brutal relic in here, and in the middle battlefield the situation is not really moving anywhere, and it's going exactly as you expected. Chrono not able to push through, but also basically same is true for Kimo, as he is going to be stuck in here for a bit before he's able to push out some extras from the siege workshops to help him in the offensive. Yes, fortunately Petriklos is going to die quite soon apparently. And especially with the priests not targeting the scarab. Oh, that sucks. That sucks. The only that shouldn't be attacking the scarab actually is the chariot archer. And yeah, Chrono needs to play this quite a lot more carefully. He does have... oh. He does actually have 2000 gold right about now. So where are exactly the migdals? Give me the migdals, please. Chrono, give me the migdals. Put one here, second here. And just pump out the units. You are having a pretty strong economy, absolutely a huge economy right about now. And since he has switched the market from the left side, or rather from the right side to the left, as it seems like that it's going to be safer and much more importantly, much more longer, a lot longer, that's better English-wise. It should be a pretty good spot for Chrono really to spam a bit. I'm not exactly sure why he's spamming just siege works. Why he should be basically just going for a lot of migdals to make sure that it's very hard for his opponent to push forward, but let's see if Chrono has some kind of idea about the battle plan for the minutes to come. You can also see heavy spearmen coming in from Kimo. Whereas Chrono is having heavy chariots, but a decent upgrade of course at this stage of the game against just medium slingers. But he got also quite nicely used exactly for the 5 TCs which are just now coming in. They should be helping quite a lot. This is a pretty strong army right now from Kimo, and he definitely seems to be right now taking the reins of the game and hoping that he can actually push forward quite strongly. It seems that he actually can, because the biggest problem of this game for so far for Chrono seems to be the scarab. He's finally targeting him, so probably not for much longer, but he's still a pretty strong tank with 670. And if Kimo actually was microing properly, he could be killing them very easily, those priests, and basically prolonging the lifespan of the scarab quite a lot. Yeah, that was a misplay by Kimo, but I think that he's going to finish with the town center anyway. Because obviously Chrono doesn't have any kind of melee units, just villagers, and yeah, right now this is a pretty strong push. And definitely quite nicely played by Kimo, and Chrono is on the defensive quite a lot, even though he is still having a decent amount of gold, and haven't even used it to play some mercenaries, but that's because Chrono actually doesn't like using them. So yeah, that's not any kind of misplay or whatnot from him. Chrono just doesn't play with mercenaries because he wants to prove you that they are not needed for a proper Egyptian play. And he is usually pretty right about that. Well, it's going to be a bit of a problem right now building Migdol once the first one is getting down. And exactly as I said a bit earlier, and which I didn't really understand, I really think that those Migdol should have been up a lot sooner. It would have been a whole lot different and much tougher for Kimo to actually do anything against that. So Son of Osiris getting his lightning bolt stuff, but unfortunately looking at the amount of actually slingers and priests and whatnot, well, he better be careful. unless he will lose him rather soon. This Migdol is definitely going to help, especially if he can somehow still protect it from all those siege towers, but I don't really think that he will be able to do so, as with the support from the town center with the mercenaries, and quite nice spam, as you can see all the units already, are all the time trickling into the battlefield. It's probably not going to be strong enough, and you can also see that, finally, Kimo is breaking through into opponent's base quite strongly, and also disrupting a bit of a trade in here, rather attempting to do so quite successfully, at least for a moment.
Rig.
But once this Migdol is down, well, Chrono is still having a pretty decent amount of resources, actually a pretty huge amount of resources. Yet another Migdol being built next to gold, which is definitely needed as he needs to protect it. Another one in here. And now we are finally seeing the spam, but it might be a bit too late, because already he has relinquished just a huge amount of map control to his opponent, and Kimo is going to be taking the town center quite easily, as there's absolutely nothing that Chrono can do against it right about now. And much more problematic, which is much more problematic for Chrono, is that his opponent Kimo is right in the middle of his trade route, and that might spell a disaster, of course, to his economy. And finally, Kimo has gathered the relic for the better trade cards or advantage cards. Son of Osiris is going to die pretty soon, it seems. Let's have a look at the upgrades. We are having copper weapons and shields for Kimo, whereas Chrono is having what? And just heavy chariots. Not really enough, considering that his opponent is having heavy slingers and heavy spearmen as well. And this is not really looking all that good. How did you get there? Inside the building? Well, that's a nice glitch. Also haven't seen that, a lot of news today. But, well, let's have a look at the battlefield. As the battle is right now raging right next to the home PC of Chrono. And since Kimo is right now up to 4, it's probably going to be a mercenary spam from this town center. Exactly, yeah. Exactly as we are expecting. And the trade route is getting in a pretty big mess right now, as even though Chrono is trying to push some extra units in here, a lot of Kimos right on spot, he is still again facing quite nice tower spam from his opponent, and much more importantly, the mercenaries are a huge problem to anything that he's doing, because it's basically a free extra army right now for Kimo. You can also see that Chrono is actually going for Secrets of the Titans right about now. But since Kimo is having super strong economy, and even though there was some shenanigans attempted on the water, obviously, you can see, not really going to be finished anymore. Something on the left as well. Kimo is right now popped. And even on top of that, he is sending mercenaries in pretty big numbers, and since he is having a very strong relic, and of course quite nice trade route on the right side, he is definitely having the upper hand in here. Even though Chrono is doing quite well, he has been able to kill the towers through just the sheer power of his villagers. And since he is going for his Titan Gate right now, let's see if he can actually push through, because Chrono is in Mythic, whereas Kimo still isn't. And he's not even advancing yet, and he's not going to be advancing anytime soon, as he is basically thinking that he can win in Heroic, and I wouldn't really put it above him. It seems that he could, as he is right now killing all the trade for his opponent, and even though Chrono is still having a decent amount of gold mines in here, he probably doesn't have enough villagers to basically put up with that. Yeah, you can see that he's having gold, but not anything else, and he's also house right about now. He has lost a lot of houses next to the tower in here, and he's losing houses on the left as well. And Kimo is definitely pushing for it very strongly, and basically putting his opponent's economy into total wreckage. So many farms, absolutely no economical gain from those, as villagers are doing something else, like building houses. And even though Chrono is having military units somewhere nearby and ready, it doesn't seem to be strong enough. So getting rid of the siege towers should definitely help him. And once he gets rid of the last one, it almost seems like that actually Kimo's attack is kinda breaking off. And even though he is still sending a lot of reinforcements into the mercenaries, it doesn't seem to be really enough. But there is a push on the Titan Gate at the top, and a pretty nice one because Kimo is basically evading any kind of battlefield and just sending slingers to kill the villagers. And since Chrono doesn't have all that many of them in here, it's quite probable it's going to be very hard for Chrono to somehow finish this, especially with a very strong push on the town center, which seems to be finally successful, as Chrono doesn't have anything to get rid of the siege tower, and exactly as the town center is going down, the game is finished. That was a very good game, actually. That was a very good game. And if it wasn't for the unlucky scouting of Chrono, who learned of second gold mine, and this one, not actually this one, at like 10 minutes only. That was like a minute or two after he actually exhausted his starting gold mine. Actually, I would venture a guess that he would have won, and quite convincingly against his opponent, because Kimo was slow, going for a barrack spam, and I really think that the gold was exactly what was missing. It was the missing ingredient for Chrono to strongly set up and make a strong push into the middle, which was where Kimo was going for his economy and for his gold. That actually might have lost Chrono the game. But in the meantime, it was quite fun for the whole duration. And congrats Kimo on actually advancing into the next round over Chrono 2-0 in the No Patch tournament. Quite nice games in this RAM mirror. In the post game we can see that Kimo is winning in score, economy and military, whereas improvements are right now going for Chrono together with Mythology. And yet again, quite stronger economy from Kimo actually. 4,000 and for 8 and 3. That's 11,000. Well, that's like a half of the difference on the last game, but still quite a lot of difference, and didn't really, I think, matter all that much. Just that Chrono didn't find the gold. And then I think when he had like 2,000 gold, I didn't really understand why he didn't just spam defense around his town center. Because that would have helped him to withstand basically anything that Kimo was at that moment having. He wasn't having all that many siege towers or whatnot. And that would have stalled him and helped Chrono get some feet under his play at that stage. .356 advance with Ra. Okay. That's much faster actually than any kind of Oranos or whatnot even. These are really two different playstyles. There was the difference. This is where the difference started with the Mythical Age, and it seems like that actually Chrono kinda underestimated his position, or rather overestimated his position, and maybe should have stuck to Heroic a bit longer. It is a big investment, and it's a lot of resources that you could be spending into upgrades, or potentially extra army. Well then, GG.